40 years for me is phenomenal. When we're kids, when somebody turns 40, they're usually like old people. And turning 40 for me, I don't feel old. I feel like just some young girl, maybe who's just older, you know, in age. And for some odd reason, I just wanted to turn 40. I was just looking forward to turning 40. It's like, I'm trying to start my life over again. So for me, 40 years is the beginning of another level of my life. I wouldn't really say I had a childhood because I became an adult quite early. I started work when I was like 10 years old and all of that. So I wasn't much of a child. But there's a memory that really sticks out, and I don't know why. I even wrote a poem about it. When I was a kid, my mom had a shop, you know, and I used to work there. And there was a day I was cleaning the place, and I saw a pink, kind of like a pink candy in some kind of package on the floor. And then my neighbors, 4 of them guys, came to me and said, "Oh, I should bring it. That this is the rubber they used to make balloons." So they took it from me. And then they took, you know the spatula you used to turn about Omorogun? They took it from me and they wore that thing on the Omorogun, the round one. I became an adult before I realized that it was a condom. But as a kid, I never knew it was a condom. They never told me. I became an adult for me, that's a memory that really sticks out from my childhood. I have never smoked weed or taken any illegal substance because I was always a good girl most of the time. I think basically it's because I'm very light-brained. I have zero tolerance for alcohol. So even a little shot of alcohol gets me tipsy. I'm sure that's why I never thought about taking something harder than alcohol. But no, I haven't. And the reason I just said it. Well, when I was in primary school, my best friend was Bumi Ogunti. We're in the same class together. We used to look for trouble together. We would do stuff together. And right now, I can't really say I have a best friend. Maybe my job. My job is my best friend. But I have people who are my friends. Some people think they are my best friends. I don't know. It's just so hard to have best friends these days. There's so much crap going around in the world. So it's better you save yourself the trouble of making somebody your best friend and then they now break your heart and do something you don't like. That's not really the reason. It's just that most times I don't have time to make friends. Who was my first crush? I don't know. Some boy that went to school together. I think we're in GS2 or GS3. I can't remember. Yeah, we're friends. He was nice to me. I used to hang out in their house. I met his parents and all that. But now that we're grown, he came back and thought, you know, we used to be friends in school. I said, no, that was when we were in secondary school. It's not going to work out this time. Yeah, nothing played out. That's just it. He was quite a gentleman. He was very gentle. He was very nice. Maybe because his parents knew me, so he was being very careful. For some odd reason, as a kid, I wanted to be a lawyer. I don't know why. I wrote JAMB 6 times because I wanted to be a lawyer. I have all my slips. But looking back now, I'm really thankful I'm not a lawyer.
I met a couple of years ago, that's over 20 years ago. We're in school together, same class, same major, and we've been friends since there. We encourage each other in all spheres, think of it, professional, anything you can think of, we encourage each other. So she's my good friend, we've been friends since year 1, and we bear the same name, so.
I met Omotola about 3 years ago in Inspiration Life Community Church. We fellowship together and we just saw for the first time and just click. And I find her amazing, interesting, and ever since then, our relationship has grown from just members of ILCC to family members, friends, very close friends, sort of. And we've been good so far.
Tola is a friend. I don't want to just beat around the bush. She's a lot of crazy things, but worthy of note is the fact that she's a friend. And when I say friend, I don't mean a gossip partner or just, a go around town friend kind of person, but a real friend.
Omotola is a friend, a sister, and I call her a bully because we met a few months back on this job when she walked in here, and we just got along, and that was just it. So at times in the course of this work, and she pushes aggressively. I called her witch, I called her Yaje, I called her bully, all manner of names. But the end result is that getting things done, getting work done.
For some odd reason, as a kid, I wanted to be a lawyer. I don't know why. I wrote JAMB 6 times because I wanted to be a lawyer. I have all my slips. But looking back now, I'm really thankful I'm not a lawyer. I think I was about 12. I wouldn't say I was prepared, you know, but I just know that I used to see my mom like do a period. Nobody told me anything. Nobody told me what I was supposed to do. And I was living with my stepdad at the time. And my stepbrother, who just somehow just found out what happened, and he tried to talk to me about it, but it was a bit awkward. So yeah, so it was about 12 and I wasn't prepared and nobody really told me anything. I said the first time I had a birthday party was when I was a year old, but I don't have any memories of that. But the memory I have is of being 10 years old. I can't remember the actual party or what happened, but one memory that sticks from that time was of one man who used to come to my mommy's shop and he brought his kids to my party. And then he said something like, oh, the kids, they left the gifts on the table. You know, they didn't bring a gift for me. And even I was 10 years old, something inside me said the man was lying. He eventually didn't bring any gifts to our house, and I do not believe they bought any gifts. A couple of favorite foods, but my favorite food in the whole wild world is steamed yam and palm oil and dried pepper. And then steamed yam and groundnut oil, not even eggs. Steamed yam and eggs, steamed yam and anything, or roasted yam. And yam in any form except pounded yam and porridge. I don't like those two. And then my continental best food is fried rice, seafood fried rice, any day. My worst job ever was public relations. It wasn't worse with regards to, I was good at it. My clients were happy, my bosses were happy, and they had plans for me. But just the sheer amount of time you spend trying to make the clients happy, you go to meetings, you have to wear a suit. I just found that exhausting as a natural reporter, news reporter. So I had to go quit that and come back to journalism. I have 2 fantasy jobs. Professionally, as a journalist, I would like to work for the BBC because working with the BBC requires a lot of depth that even when you don't come with, they give to you through trainings and all of that. That is my fantasy job as a journalist. But as an academic, my fantasy job is to become a professor of journalism. Not just a professor of journalism, a world-class professor of journalism. From a school like Columbia School of Journalism, and having that kind of world-class education, I would like to be able to teach in journalism schools, say in Africa, in South America, where they can't afford somebody like me. That's the kind of job I want. Something that allows me to be a world-class professional, but also somebody that can support local journalists.
Omotola is, I would say she's my friend, but then that would be really weird. So I'll just say she's my sister. We are cousins. And I'm here to represent every member of the family. Yes, so shout out to Balogans. As much as she seems tough to handle, if you do understand her, maybe the principles behind why she does the things she does, it's probably a lot easier to deal with than most people think. So yeah, if you're from the outside looking in, it can look like it's a bit much, but if you're from the inside and you kind of understand the dynamics of the inside, I think it's a lot easier than most people would imagine.
Yes, she is strict, but she can be very loving. That's when you get to know the kind of person she is, and she doesn't like people to get to her space anyway, but if she gives you that chance, I think you will end up loving her, the kind of person she is. That's her personality.
Well, in primary school, I would say it was Mrs. Olabisi. She was my primary 4 teacher, I think. You know, and in secondary school, it was Mr. Owaje. And he's my favorite teacher because he was my class teacher in JS3. And then when I went to SS1, because I was quite intelligent in school, and the assumption those days was that if you're intelligent, you have to be in science class. So I was in science class for almost a term. One day, Mr. Owaje comes and says,
if you know your mathematics is not sharp, it's not too late to leave. I just packed my things and I left. I probably would still be writing JAMB by now. I probably would still be writing WAEC by now if I didn't leave at that time. So because of that, he remains my all-time favorite teacher because it saved me from making a very huge mistake as a young girl. I play games on my computer. I have a lot of games. I have a lot of stuff I read. I'm in charge of my own happiness. So if I feel unhappy, I have a lot of things I use to cope. I write poetry. I play music. But most importantly, I play games. I just increase the sound of the game and I just keep playing. And it helps me a lot. I think my darkest memory as a person, as an adult, really, was when my grandmother died, my maternal grandmother. She was such a phenomenal woman. So when she died, it was really, really very painful. It was, I couldn't reconcile. I couldn't even go for her burial because I went for her burial when she was buried, but I couldn't go for the normal party that they do because in my view it was as if I was mocking her in death because she was somebody who loved me unconditionally and she was such a kind person. I learned a lot from her. So when she died, I was in a very dark place. After that, when my immediate older sister died, I think that was even darker than when my grandmother died because she was very young, even though she was ill and everything. And the fact that I had to mourn her all by myself, I was alone, made it even worse because she was like my best friend. We were very close, we did all kinds of mischief together, and it was really very painful to lose somebody that close to me. So those two people, for me, were the very most dark moments in my life. No, I've never wished I was anybody else. Even as a kid, I had always loved myself. I had always, believed in myself, believed that I was going somewhere. I grew up learning that I was a smart person before I learned that I was beautiful. So learning to know myself from the inside out has helped me a whole lot. I never wanted to be skinnier. I never wanted to be, I just loved being myself. I've never wanted to be anybody else. No, I don't. Because I'm an Ijebu woman and I was raised as a person before I was raised as a woman. In my culture, being a man is not a privilege. It's just normal. Being a woman is normal. No one had an edge over the other. That was how I was raised. And I even became a teenager before I began to regard people as male or female. So when sometimes people ask me, as a female journalist, how do you cope with being a woman? I'm like, I'm just a journalist first, before I'm a woman. So I don't feel disadvantaged in any way, but that does not mean that the prejudices in society are not extended towards me. But I don't meet those prejudices with any kind of fear or anything. I'm just myself. And most of the time, whatever I have to get done, I get it done, irrespective of the prejudices that are sent my way.
She's truly someone that, when you are with, you have a great time. And that's really true about Tola. She's now on the downside. She's crazy, she's naughty, she's loud. She never stopped talking. Okay, maybe we have that in common.
Yes, I wanted to be an actress. It was one of the many things I wanted to be because growing up as a kid, I had a flair for so many things before I decided to choose journalism. I actively pursued an acting career at some point, but after a while, I think, even when I worked with Mr. Tunde Kilani on 2 movies as production secretary and continuity person, I just lost interest in being an actress at that time, maybe because I was too busy. But I've been in 1 movie, and I think now that I've been a journalist for 21 years, I think I can pursue other careers, acting being one of them. Well, like most families, mine isn't perfect. I have both nuclear and extended family, but I'm very proud of my family. We don't have anybody in our family that we are all afraid is going to bring us to disrepute. We fight, we laugh, we do things together. Some of us don't do things together, some of us don't like ourselves, some of us like ourselves. I'm privileged that I have a family, both biological and spiritual. Privileged, and I'm grateful for that. It's like when people ask me, why don't I put princess in front of my name on Facebook? And I'm like, really? Because the kind of royal family that I'm from, my uncle who is the king now, he's not just some kind of entitled person. He still drives himself, he does things by himself and all of that. So that humility, you know, I come from a humble royalty. That humility, that love for people is my kind of royal family. And yes, I'm glad I'm from one and I'm privileged. The one person I would like to say something to is my maternal grandmother. She's been gone now for over 10 years. I wish she was alive. I have questions I could have asked her, questions about her life as a young girl, about her marriage, about her sense of business, because she was quite the entrepreneur. You know, because these days as young girls, we think so much of ourselves that we're these 21st century women. But my grandmother had 5 kids. She had a farm, she had farms, and she had businesses she was running. She did much more than any of us can do in the 21st century, and she did it well. I would have loved to ask her for more tips on how to be a better person as a woman. I was never raped or anything, but you know, there were cases of men, grown men, touching me inappropriately as a little girl. Things that some of them are family members that you can't say to the other person, or, you know, so yes, at some point, and not just the sexual part, there were times when, you know, an older person takes your money and you ask for it, they ask you, don't you eat? The food that you eat, where does it come from? So why are you asking for your money? Things like that, you know. And sometimes, because of the kind of culture where I come from, where the older person is always like in the right, sometimes an older person wronged you and they still make you feel like you did something wrong. Yes. So yes, I've been taken advantage of as a kid.
I see her as a person, as a nice person. That's basic. Despite the fact that she's strong-willed, and sometimes she will say some things that you do not like, she always tries to relay her thoughts in the most considerate way, even if she's angry. So I do see her as a nice person, as a considerate person, as a good leader, as a person that believes in standards and is not afraid to say her mind about upholding standards.
I actually became born again in an Orthodox church. We went to watch a movie at the Methodist church, which was my family church. And then after the movie, they asked us to come out and give our lives to Christ. I was about 15. I was almost 16, I think, then. No, I was 16 already. It was 1995, August, I remember. My birthday is in July. So that was how I gave my life to Christ. And then I went to school. I started going to the Redeemed Church. I started growing in my work with God. I started reading the Bible. I started learning how to be a Christian. It's been fantastic. It's been tough because when you become born again, it's like drawing a straight line against the devil, and it's always out to make you come back. But yes, I'm glad that I have a relationship with God. Biggest challenges? I think mostly it's about making choices about things, because like what ordinarily, say about dating somebody, for instance, you know, when you're dating somebody as a young person, you expect to sleep with the person. It's normal. There's nothing wrong with that, you know. But when you're a Christian, you can't do that. And then even the things you wear, a lot of people call me old school. They call me conservative and all of that, because for me, being a Christian isn't just me saying it. You should be able to see me and tell from what I wear, from the way I conduct myself. It's important to me that I represent God in all of my ways. I'm human. I err. I miss it a lot of times. But most of the time, I try to stick to that path, and most of the time, it is not easy. Oh my goodness, really? You want me to say the worst boss I ever worked with? You want to get me into trouble? Well, I used to have this boss that he wants a house. He wants you to build a house, but he doesn't want to give you the materials. You don't build houses from the air. So most times when he just goes on and on, he's just talking, I just tune him out and I just ignore him. He's not a realist. And because I have grown as a young person and as a professional to measure myself not by my boss, but by God first, and then by the standard of my industry. So I know where I am. So if you're not giving me what I need to do, you can't make me feel bad. Well, 25 years ago, or 20 years ago, if you had told me, at 40, well, I thought by now I'll probably have my PhD, which I don't. I don't even have my master's yet. I thought that I probably would be married. I'll have 4 kids. I'm not married. I don't even want to have kids anymore. So all that has changed. I thought maybe by now I work for the CNN, and I wanted to be a journalist and a lawyer together. I'm not a lawyer, I'm glad. I don't work for BBC, but what I am professionally, I am okay with myself. I think God has really been faithful to me with regards to my career, and that I'm grateful for. So in so many other ways, I am not what I want to be, but I'm grateful for where I am. When I was a kid, I am an only child between my parents. That means I'm the only one born by both of them, but they both have other kids. So during the holidays, I used to spend time with my sister's grandmother. And then one day I went there, I don't know what happened. She's not to say hurtful things to even our own grandchildren, so it wasn't like she was singling me out to make me feel bad. No. She said that when you come, you be like a scarecrow. And the more when you leave this place, you'll be looking like a well-fed cow. I was just a kid, but I remember those words. It was very hurtful. It was a hurtful thing to say to a child. And I don't have any grudge. I just asked him and it just came to my mind. It's a bad thing to say to a child because it's not my fault. Whatever it is was happening wasn't my fault.
Didn't like her? Can you not like her? I don't think so. She's one. She balances both. You know, she's tough, not tough. Let me say disciplined. You know, she's disciplined and she's caring. So it depends on the side. You know, you come to her. So she gives it the way it comes. But she can be loving. She can be caring. But she's tough. That's one thing you should know about her. She won't take. It's interview, so she won't take anything, you know, not too good from anyone.
One of the brightest moments of my career was when I left public relations back to journalism and came to work at AIT. I came to a place where my talents, my creativity, and my competence were appreciated. And I was allowed to be the best journalist I could ever be. And I cannot be the journalist I am today without that time at AIT, just 2 years, but it did a lot for my career. Wow, when I was a kid, I think I was in GSS 2 or 3 in a public school in Ijebu State. They give us like portions to farm. You farm the portion and you grow your crops. They had my into it, and then the Greek teacher sent for me. Had 4 boys carry me. 4 boys locked. That's the worst punishment anybody has ever given me. They beat me like I was a criminal. And I wasn't. I just don't like farming. The most challenging point in my life was about 3 years ago when I just got frustrated because I couldn't be the journalist, the kind of journalist I wanted to be. You know, I had a good job, I had a good position, but it was like I was running on the same sport. The job had become a routine. There was nothing challenging. So that really bothered me so much that I had to quit my job. And I wish I lived in a society where I could say get a student loan, get back to school and do something more meaningful with my life. But I didn't have that. So it took me a lot to be able to crawl out of that depressive state, you know. So for me, that is the most challenging moment in my life. Of course, I've been in love before. What happened? What do you mean what happened? People fall in love in a relationship, it works out or it doesn't work out. In my case, it didn't work out. End of story. Of course, I'm looking for love. The God kind of love, you know. The love that loves unconditionally, because that's the kind of love I'm willing to give. The love that watches out for me, because that's the kind of love I'm also willing to give. Yeah, I am looking for love.
Because she clocked 40, Baba, she should start calling me Auntie Lola going forward. Or else, because she's my boss does not mean that I cannot fire her in my usual language. So she start calling me Auntie Lola. Then, I want to wish her a happy birthday, and here's believing that the good Lord will grant every of her heart desires, give her a befitting birthday present, and make her happy all the days of her life.
Oh, well, why not? So long as there's mutual respect and plenty of money to spend. Now, seriously though, people talk about companionship like it's a bad thing, but that was the first reason God created marriage. Marriage is for companionship. Any other thing is just an addendum. And so yes, I can marry somebody for companionship because it would be a scriptural thing to do. The thing about premarital sex, or fornication as the Bible calls it, is I'm old enough, I have done it before, and I know that each time you sleep with somebody you're not married to, it takes away something from you. It chips at your spiritual armor. It chips at your spiritual integrity, at so many things about you, and it does it bit by bit. And I know tons of people who are married today who don't respect themselves. The women don't respect the woman, because most pastors preach in church and make it look like when you fornicate with a brother, it's only the woman that is losing something. But when, as a Christian, I sleep with you, a man, for me, you are lightweight. You're not somebody I can take seriously. So for me, I am convinced beyond the pages of the Bible that it's not something I'm supposed to do. And I don't do it. Oh, every day. One of my friends gets married. Somebody stylishly tells me, maybe my mom, my aunt, or somebody says, oh, your aunt too will come, you know? And they just say things like that. I know sometimes they mean well, but sometimes it sounds, you know, kind of like inconsiderate and insensitive when you tell somebody like that. And what I say is, if at 40 I'm not married, do you think I want to be single at 40? So why would you remind me that I'm not married? Are you more eager to get married than I am? So in as much as people are trying to show that they care about you, sometimes just keep your opinion to yourself. If I'm going to get married, I'll let you know. And I refuse I just refuse to be forced or to be influenced in any way to get married to somebody I'm not supposed to be getting married to, because society expects me to be married at a certain age. Well, if I could write my tombstone, it would say, there once was a girl. She loved life, she loved God, she lived it to the fullest, and she's living, hoping you also do the same. Or she's left, hoping you also do the same. Well, 50 is just 10 years away. It looks like it's a long time, but it's actually not. At 50, I would love to have become a professor of journalism and being able to teach internationally. If God willing, be married to a man who understands, because at this stage, you know, I don't have the same marital aspirations like a 25-year-old. You know, for me, it's all about respect, mutual respect, companionship, and all of that. I would like to have that at 50. And be an influencer of young people for good. Because there are tons of young people out there who we condemn every time. See the way they are dressed, see what he's wearing, see what he's talking about. But we're not going out of our way to mentor them, because it requires a lot of patience to get them to be where we hope they would be.
And times are different. The time that we were growing up is different from these times. And so we need to recognize that. I'd like to be that kind of 50-year-old who is inspiring young people to be the best that they're supposed to be.
Like I normally call her Umo Brain. I wish you all the best in life. The world is out there waiting for your manifestation. Go out and shine.
So, Omotola, I wish you the best of the years ahead. I already know it's been an amazing 40, and the next 40, I believe, will be a lot more adventurous than these 40. And I wish you all the best. I wish you more travel, because I know you love to travel, so I wish you more travel. I won't pay for all of that travel. I'll pay for some of it, not all of it, but yeah, all the best in the next couple of years to come.
Well, I wanted to be a lawyer, as I said. I wanted to be a lawyer, but now I'm grateful that I'm not a lawyer. And I have no ambition to be a lawyer anymore. I wanted to get married and have 4 kids. I'm 40, I'm not married. I didn't want to have kids. So that's out of the way. Wow, 3 people dead or alive that I would like to have today. My grandmother. Esau in the Bible. I'd like to find out why he sold his birthright for a snack. I'm really curious, really. It really bothers me when I think about it, because something inside me just keeps telling me that what Jacob gave him can't be a full meal. It must just have been a snack. I'd like to find out why. And then the third person, maybe, let's see, Hitler. You know, the racist, narcissist Hitler of Germany. I'd like to sit with him and ask him, why did he do what he did? Why kill so many people for what turned out to be nothing? Yeah, those 3 people. Well, I'll say it's a piece titled, Just Call Me a Yoruba Woman. It's my best piece because I wrote it from a place of cultural awareness as a Yoruba woman, you know. And one of the verses says, whether she sells pomo in a Igbo market or she's a professor at Cambridge University, a Yoruba woman requires no education to be classy, you know. It talks about gumption and all of that are ingrained in our DNA. Because as a Yoruba person, I grew up with an awareness that I could do anything. Nobody said I couldn't do anything. Nobody despised me because I'm a woman. And so coming from that cultural perspective, I felt it was important for me to celebrate that part of my culture, that as a woman, as a Yoruba woman, there are no limitations from my culture. And in my experience and understanding, if you see a Yoruba woman being oppressed, in my experience, most of the time, either the Quran or the Bible is being quoted out of context most of the time by men who are just trying to have their way. For me, it's Sissy Winers's Alabaster Box. Talks about the grace, the mercy of God. Talks about how Jesus' sacrifice cleanses you, takes you from a place of nothing to something, from insignificance to significance. So for me, that song is my theme song. When I hear it sung, it feels there's something inside of me that rises in worship to God. It's a powerful song. And for me, the most powerful line in that song about the woman with the alabaster jar was when Sister Winer said, she spoke no words, but everything she said was heard. That's powerful. Those are powerful words. I love that song because it makes there's a lot of meaning of salvation, of redemption in it. And that for me would be a song I would like to be played. Influences in my life, number 1 is God Almighty, without whom I can do or will be nothing. Yeah, people say, oh, but God is in heaven, but His word, the Bible, is here on earth to guide us, and it's guided me over the years. The Bible says God has given us all that we need for life and godliness. And the word of God has guided my life in so many ways, has saved me a lot of trouble, that when I listen to people say things, sometimes I feel like I live in fake Nigeria. Like I don't live in a real world because I live by the Bible and all of that. And apart from that, I've had people like Mr. John Ehigwese, who was an alumni of my school. I met him in school, and he has influenced my life in a billion ways.
He's been very helpful. He's helped me when I needed a place to live. He's helped me with my academics. He's helped me with getting a job. He employed me at some point. He's one of the biggest influences in my life. There are so many of them, Mr. Femi Odugbemi, Mr. Tunde Kilani, Tunde Adegbola, so many people, Uche Obiosotule, so many great people. I call myself the Village Project because in the times when I've not had my family really supporting me, I've had this plethora of people who have gone out of their way to ensure that I get to where I need to be, who believed in me, who believed in my talents, who believed in my future. As a matter of fact, one day, Mr. Femi Odugbemi, when I needed money to go to school, told me, he said, the reason I give you money is because I believe in your future. There is no better gift that anybody can give anyone than those words. Yes, those guys, those people I've mentioned, apart from God, have really influenced me.
Omotola, happy birthday to you. Happy 40th birthday. Long life and prosperity, and I pray God's blessing. And God grant every of your heart desire. So, I love you.
Omotola-Aderinsola Adebanjo, here's wishing you a happy 40th birthday. Wishing you so much more that your heart desires, that coming onto you better than you desire. Much more than you desire is all what I wish you. Happy birthday, Omotola.
So really for me, 40 for me is a new beginning. It's the beginning of great things. I feel like I was just hatched like a chick out of an egg, really. And I feel like my life is just starting. So for me, the phrase life begins at 40 isn't just a cliche, it's a reality for me. I'm just starting. Watch out for me.